Broads Media.
Wow. I did not think we'd be having this discussion today. The rumors are out there that Nick Castellanos and the Philadelphia Phillies might not be a relationship next year. The Phillies are, quote, open to maybe exploring a trade, and I think it would be dumb. I don't think I would root for it. I believe that he has tremendous value on this baseball team. You don't just replace 30 home runs, 106 RBI, and what he did in the NLDS to beat the Braves by shaking something off of a tree. All right, they don't just grow out of nowhere, especially from the right side of the plate when Rhys Hoskins won't be back due to the fact that Bryce Harper is committing to first base during the long term here. So I don't know. My gut tells me I don't like it. It could be a knee-jerk reaction because of what happened in the NLCS. And we can look at Kyle Schwarber as an example. It's not as if he started to dominate in that series against the Braves. But once the Diamondbacks came to town, it was a different monster. It was a different beast. As soon as it switched to the next series, my guy took off. And I don't want to react to just one bad series that was problematic. And that stretch he went on was so absurd. 0 for 20 plus. He was a part of the reason why you failed that series. I'm not going to sugarcoat that, but there's still so much that he does that I think you're just writing off because of the we're living in the now and remembering how it ended, but forgetting that he had, 4 home runs against the Braves. He helped you take down arguably one of the most powerful offenses this game has ever seen. Without him going off, I don't know if you're in that position. We'll talk about it, and we'll take a bunch of your phone calls, and we'll take some of your text board messages as well. Before we do that, though, let's talk about my great friends over at MyBookie. And if you found a $100 bill on the ground, you wouldn't walk right past that. So why are you passing up on cashing winners every single week? MyBookie has the biggest online selection of odds to fill all your sports betting needs, anytime, anywhere. So you could turn that sports knowledge into cash in your wallet. Bet on the NFL, college football, NBA, NHL, or you could even play for a share of big cash prizes in the weekly blackjack tournaments. If you've been waiting for the right time to get in on the action, well, the time is right now. Make your winning move today. Sign up at MyBookie, use promo code BROADS, and claim your deposit match, redeemable up to $1,000. Again, that's promo code BROADS to claim your bonus. Experience the thrill of sports betting right from the comfort of your home. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. Remember, Eagles on the bye week, so what better than sitting on the couch on Sunday all day long and placing bets throughout the 1 o'clock hour, placing bets at the 4:25 hour, placing bets on Sunday Night Football. Don't be a fool. Join the MyBookie family down below. Okay, so in the regular season, he had 29 home runs, 106 RBI, and in the NLDS, he hit 467 with 4 bombs. Let's start here. If you are an opposing team willing to call the Phillies for a possible acquisition of Castellanos, you'd have to be a competing team, meaning you wouldn't want to give up assets that you have on your roster currently that would be good to win baseball games, because the idea of adding Castellanos to your team would be we're flirting around 500, and instead of winning 81 games, we want to win 85. Instead of maybe winning 84 games, we want to win 89. So you don't want to remove anything solid on your roster and then replenish it with Castellanos, because then you're removing something. The value of Castellanos is bringing that mix to what you already have to give you a push. There's no reason to just take Castellanos and then give away something spectacular. It defeats the purpose. So you wouldn't be getting, in my eyes, unless Dave Dombrowski is a wizard and pulls a Howie Roseman and he can flip things that don't make sense and you can get all this crazy stuff. There's a few guys that I'd be willing to do it for, okay? It's not like I'm completely out of it all around. If you can replace Aaron Nola and get a real number 2 and then still sign Sonny Gray, so then it's Wheeler, someone you get back for Nick, and then you can get, but who would do that? That doesn't make sense. That's not anything that's really logical. Why would anybody do that? Because then, sure, you have Nick Castellanos on your team, but you lose something extremely important like a starting pitcher on your pitching staff. So the reason I bring this up is the only thing you'd get back in return, in my eyes, would be prospects. And this team is ready to win now. You have to maximize this roster now. And they were 2 games away from going to back-to-back World Series. And yeah, they fell short to the Houston Astros that were better than them. But I think they were the best team in baseball last year until they fell flat on their face with 2 games to go at home with Wheeler and Nola on the mound. And yeah, he was a part of that. There's no doubt he was a part of that. And he struggled in the first season under the Phillies. He still is a huge threat, and he bats 7th in your lineup. Imagine Nick Castellanos being a 7-hole hitter and what that means for the opposing teams that have to try and run through this batting order. I don't know. I just think it's a very knee-jerk reaction. Now, I do trust Dave Dombrowski, and one of my buddies who is very involved in the baseball world, he thinks this is just media throwing things at the wall and hoping that there's a bunch of clicks that get involved, and it's more speculation. And this was reported originally from a reporter on MLB.com, so it has more weight than just something local and something that's being thrown around by maybe someone that doesn't have a lot of support behind their name. So it is coming from an MLB.com source. I don't think this is one of those, we're just going to randomly try and spark something during winter meetings and see if anything takes off. There's probably legitimacy to it. And with Dave Dombrowski, I do trust him. And if you bring in someone like Soler, I can live with it to play your outfield, but I prefer keeping Nick Castellanos instead of just getting rid of him completely. I think that would be the best idea in my eyes, and I said this at the time of when the season ended. I said this at the time of when things went south for this baseball team. I think it was more execution than it is their philosophy. They were up 2-0 on the Diamondbacks, and they put up a 10 spot and annihilated them. Nobody was having any issues with the idea of being a team that mashes then. They just didn't execute. Them swinging out of the zone, that's them not executing the game plan. Stop swinging out of the zone. Stop swinging out of the zone. Trey Turner, Alec Bohm, these guys falling apart. I feel we're pointing the fingers at Nick Castellanos more than the rest of the crew. Alec Bohm was non-existent in that NLCS. Trey Turner fell apart insanely. JT Realmuto wasn't very strong either. It was the collective group that failed. And Nick got the majority of the blame because of how ice cold he went. He was super hot, red hot, tearing the cover off the ball to essentially being exactly who he was the first year here in Philadelphia, which is problematic. I'm not saying that he doesn't deserve any of the blame. I'm saying just because he had an ugly downfall there, I can't pretend like what he did to help beat the Braves isn't something that's in his bag. And if I want to go compete for another World Series, I have bigger problems than Nick Castellanos right now, and that's getting your starting rotation intact, because letting Aaron Nola go, which I don't think they're going to match any contract if he's going to get the big bucks in the long-term years that Aaron Nola is looking for. Sonny Gray doesn't move the needle enough for me to be plugged behind Zach Wheeler, and then there's automatically your 1-2 punch with Ranger being your 3. Now, someone that makes sense for me to move would be a Taijuan Walker. That's the level of guy and the type of outing that I saw this season that would make me question, would it be worth it to try and remove that contract? Not Nick. Nick gave you 30 home runs and over 100 RBI. Where do you just replace that? Where do you get that again? And if your answer is Soler, okay, fine. Go get Soler and then show me something reasonable and worth moving Nick Castellanos for. Because if you're going to get just prospects back in return because whatever team wants him still wants to keep their roster intact, then it's not just Soler and prospects that make me feel good about where this current team is to continue to build off these World Series and NLCS seasons that we just witnessed. It's not. I don't want to just move my knee and jerk it just to jerk it. There's a lot that he does, and if the value isn't anything significant, I'm not just doing it just to do it. And I think that the people who are in favor are just annoyed by the fact that he struck out a lot, and this team is a brand of we want to hit home runs. Yeah, but that brand, when executed properly, had you up 2-0 and ready to go back to the World Series. You collapse due to other issues other than we like the idea of mashing. And they don't just mash, all right? I've been through this before. Bryce Harper can do more than just hit home runs. JT can do more than just hit home runs. Trey Turner can do more than just hit home runs. There's a few guys where that's about it. In the beginning of the year, Nicky Doubles. His name was Nicky Doubles because all he did was force it into the gap, and he was doing his thing there. So Bohm isn't a home run machine. 20 home runs is a nice season for him, and it is significantly stronger than anything we've seen with power. But that's not all he did, and he had a ton of runs batted in. Marsh was more than just home runs. It's Kyle Schwarber and Nick Castellanos. There's two guys that are essentially home run or bust in theory from a 1,000-foot view, and the rest of the guys can do way more than that. I don't think we need to hit the panic button. To me, that would scream panic. And, if you think, well, they're not going to run it back and have this great success, they should have been in back-to-back World Series. Back-to-back World Series. They should have been. And we don't think that's good enough. The first year against Houston, they weren't better than the Houston Astros. They were not better than the Houston Astros. Last year, they could have competed with that Texas Rangers team and go toe-to-toe with them. And that's what a World Series is supposed to be. It's not supposed to be easy, but if you go toe-to-toe with that Texas team and stop it with, did you see the way that Texas team was hitting off Zach Gallen? The last time I brought this up, the Texas Rangers fans were in my mentions referencing the first series against Texas. You think we're scared of Zach Wheeler? Look what we did to him when he came to Texas. Yeah, game one. Game one of the season. Game 2 of the season, Game 3 of the season, Aaron Nola stats, whatever it was. Are you serious? How dumb can you be? The way Zach Wheeler was throwing at the end of the year, they had such a short offseason. They went deeper than they've ever went before. Of course, the start of 2023, they weren't going to be crisp. Good for you. You torched some of the pitchers and you swept the Phillies in the first series of the year. Who the hell is the same team Series 1? If that's the case, if you're the same team as you are throughout certain spots of the year, then you're not a division winner type. The Astros are. So stop it with that. Come on now. That's Bush League. This Aaron Nola thing, though, I would try and bring him back. I would. I don't know if I'm going 7, 6 years, anything crazy like that. But this whole money thing, it doesn't matter. If John Middleton is willing to spend the money, it doesn't matter. Aaron Nola is going to be a masterful weapon for whatever team he goes for and goes to in the postseason. He may have his ups and downs through the regular season, but I've seen enough in October to recognize that it's very difficult to replace that. And Sonny Gray is a nice pitcher, and I like Sonny Gray. I like Sonny Gray as a 3, but Sonny Gray also failed miserably in New York. It's different playing for a market with expectations that will breathe down your neck and rip you to shreds whenever you have a bad outing. I don't know if Sonny Gray can hold up his end of the bargain in a city like this. There's guys who have openly admitted that it's extremely difficult for them. Zach Greinke was one of them. Maybe Sonny Gray has an experience that's tough for him as well to settle in and be a force with the amount of pressure that's here. If you want to go to Corbin and call up Milwaukee and add that behind Zach Wheeler, oh yeah, Now, that would be something outrageous. And I know Dave Dombrowski's on the prowl, and he's going to do everything in his power to make these additions to be a strong team. And he may do something that's very eye-popping. Whoa, go look at what the Phillies did. That would not surprise me. Whoa, the Phillies are hungry to get back. They made a damn statement. They made a damn splash in the winter time, and they did their thing. I would not be surprised at all if Dave did that. I don't know if Nick Castellanos is that answer, though. So Blake Snell, it doesn't do it for me. Sonny Gray doesn't do it for me. I can't believe I'm here, but that's what Aaron Nola has showed me over the last couple of Octobers. That's hard to match. That's hard to find. I don't know if Sonny Gray and Blake Snell, they're decent pitchers. They are. And yes, Sonny Gray over the last 5 years, blah, 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 blah. I watched him in New York, and there is a fear factor for me. I'm sorry, there just is. Say what you will about the Aaron Nola regular season stuff. I'd be willing to go spend some money on those. I would. I don't think he goes to the Braves. There's a lot of you that have reached out to me. Bro, do you think he's going to the Braves? When do the Braves spend money like that in free agency? They won't even pay Freddie Freeman. They told Freddie Freeman to go kick rocks and brought in a Matt Olson. They're not willing to pay the fat bag. So I'd be stunned if Aaron Nola was in an Atlanta Braves uniform. I'd be willing to talk to him. Even if some of the years is a little long. What's the window? Where's Bryce Harper? Where's Trey Turner? These guys have long-term deals here. The next 3 years or so is when all of this is right in front of you. It's go grab it now. After those 3 years, when Bryce Harper's 35, when Trey Turner's 30, mid-30s, not that they're going to be bad players by any means, but now you're 29 to 33. That's the go get it now. Well, Aaron Nola fits that mold, and the back end of a heavier contract for Aaron Nola, if there is some length on it, it matches the rest of where you would be with some of these massive contracts that you added years to try and go get something now. Anyway, that was the purpose of those deals. So if that's the purpose of those deals, what's the difference if you go all in now with some of your pitching, which is detrimental to get you back to the World Series? I don't know. That's the way I see it. Nola eats way more innings than some of the other names that are available in free agency. Pitching, you need it. It comes at a high cost. I'm willing to go all in and do more of a run it back with some tweaks because they're not far off. I'm not saying fully everything's the same. We can't have Rojas on the team. And every time I hear that, well, Rojas, whenever that's mentioned, Rojas, you know what I think about? I think about the fact that, well, Rojas isn't going to be here. He can't hit. I know he can't hit. That's why it bothered the piss out of me that I had to watch him with the season on the line in the fourth inning with a chance to blow it open against the Diamondbacks, and they let him go up there and hack. I'm glad that Rob Thompson on a recent podcast mentioned the fact that he has to self-assess and he needs to realize that things have to go differently and different decisions should have been made, and he did reflect on some decisions now that there's some time removed from everything. And you know, if you don't win it all, of course you have to make changes with your style and you have to do some things to tweak, just like Rob is going to tweak his mentality and maybe some of the ways that he goes about managing. Well, that's what you have to do with this roster. Tweak it. A Nick Castellanos thing would almost be sort of a big blow. Ideally, and we'll take some calls in a second here, ideally what I would have done was ask Bryce to go back to right field, put Nick in left field, Kyle DHs, and sign Reese to play first base. I think that would give you a huge punch with your bat. Reese does more than just hit home runs. He walks. He sees a lot of pitches. I'd slot him back, I don't know, maybe in the 2. So, well, Trey Turner, I don't know, because I still want Kyle leading off, and I would have done Kyle, Reese, Bryce, but Trey batting for that doesn't make much sense. Would you put Trey batting third, Bryce batting cleanup, and then you have JT and Nick? See what I'm saying? Nick batting 7th. You have Bohm. You have Stott. How is that not a lineup that you want to go to war with next season? That's what I would do preferably, but it doesn't seem like that's the case because Bryce is already committed to playing first base. All right, let's talk about TickPick because TickPick is amazing. If you want to go to a Sixers game or a Flyers game or an Eagles game, well, you absolutely can. And I can help you get there by giving you $10 off thanks to my friends at TickPick. If you click the link down below in the description, my promo code is already applied. And if you spend over $99, you get $10 off of your purchase. They have the best prices around. They guarantee it. Their ticket prices will beat any of the major competing marketplaces, and they're so confident that they guarantee it. If you find the same seats elsewhere at a better price than TickPick, you will get 110% of the price difference in form of TickPick credit. There's also upfront pricing, meaning no more doing the math in your head to prepare for how much extra you got to pay at the end when you go to these other sites. The listed price, it's not the end price. The price you see on TickPick is the price you pay at checkout, period, end of story. So make sure you get one of your friends, one of your family members, maybe it's your significant other. You go, hey, let's go to a game. Let's watch Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey and Nick Nurse live. Let's go check out what John Tortorella's doing with this hockey team, all right? And you can thank our friends over at TickPick for giving you a nice extra $10 bill to help you out. I mean, it's a no-brainer, so make sure you do that. Mike Trout, anybody? Hector Neris, anybody? I think Hector could come back. Hector the Protector. We need some help in that bullpen. Little Hector the Protector. I'm in. Give me Hector Neris, man. He always got the short end of the stick here with some of the fans. Give me Hector. And the whole Trout thing, look, you find a way to get Mike Trout, fine. All right, I'm not going to complain. It just seems more like a reach than anything else currently as we sit here and discuss what this team's going to do. The narrative, he's always banged up, is that in play? Maybe. I would never argue bringing in lethal talent, though. It's very simple to me. Go get studs. Nick is a stud when he's red hot. Now he's ice cold. When he's ice cold, it's failing misery. But there were other reasons. If Nick was ice cold in the NLCS, look, they beat the Braves without Kyle Schwarber smashing bombs in the NLDS. Why? Because other guys had it. Other guys were locked in. If Nick failed, but Bohm produced, if Nick failed and Trey Turner didn't collapse, you may still be in the World Series, and then Nick comes alive in the World Series, has epic games, and then we're not even having this discussion. There were so many factors and reasons on why that went down the way it did. Rob Thompson forcing yourself to play a bullpen game when you had the advantage of Christopher Sanchez against Arizona's bullpen game. And you see how tragic bullpen games go when you watch the Rangers explode in the World Series against the Diamondbacks. That's how it should have went. They all failed, all of them. It's inexcusable. Game 4, Game 4, Game 4, Game 4. I'll cry every night thinking of Game 4. Let's go to the calls.
Hey, Broads. I think the goal of the Phillies offseason should come down to one thing. They have to re-sign Aaron Nola. I'm not really in on anyone else, like from this free agent class. I don't like the idea of giving Blake Snell a lot of money, especially since he, in my eyes, is a candidate to regress. And as we know from like Castellanos and Trey Turner, like guys in their first year here, they don't do well. And we need guys who can perform right away. Castellanos, if you have an offer for him, I'm open to trading him. I'm definitely open to trading Taijuan Walker, but they're not going to get any offers for either of those two guys. Rhys Hoskins, I'm really sad for. Like his time in Philly, like is probably over, and it ended really in a really sad way. That being said, I do like and I'm intrigued by the idea of Bryce Harper moving to first base full time, and I'm really interested to see how they fill that left field hole. They might keep Rojas and try to develop him, which I have mixed feelings upon. But I'm not like one of those guys this offseason who's going to say, oh, we got to get more of these big contracts. No, I'm not on that. Sign Aaron Nola, let some guys develop, and rock and roll moving forward.
I disagree with the Rojas thing. I think you need to get somebody legitimately who could swing the baseball bat. You can't give other teams, if he bats 3 times in a lineup, you can't give another team in a playoff series 3 free outs per game and think that you can do something with that. It's problematic where Rojas is offensively, and he needs time to develop and go down and play in the minors, and it's not time to develop here when you're ready to go win a World Series. So I don't like that idea at all. But it's crazy that Bryce Harper goes and switches positions, has Tommy John surgery, and then wins a Silver Slugger. The guy's a machine, all right? It's fantastic that we get to watch his career play out in front of our eyes in big moments, season after season, MVP, you name it. The guy is a force, and it's beautiful. But, yeah, I'm with you on the Walker thing. I'm with you on the Nola thing. Nola has really grabbed my attention over the last few postseasons. The ironic part is it's always about the he can't show up in the big moment thing. He might have a rocky road during June, July, August, ups and downs, home runs, whatever. I saw him respond to that adversity this October, following last year's October. You need that. You need that. You need that. And I have more confidence in him than I do a Snell, than I do a Sonny Gray, than I do anyone else. Corbin from Milwaukee. You want to call Milwaukee, who apparently is ready to ship guys out of town. By all means, that's a different story. That's the same caliber that we're talking about. That is it. That's the whoa, okay, you grabbed something special move. The other ones are just nice additions. If you got Nola plus, different story, right? And I'm not saying there's a way for this or they would do this, because they wouldn't. But I'm just giving you the ideas that I have in my mind that would be more impressive to me with a Snell addition. It would be Nola and Snell. It would be Nola and Gray. So it's Wheeler, Nola, Gray, Ranger. I don't see that as a possibility, but the 3 spot in the rotation would be more like, yes, yes, yes. For me, that would be more the reaction. Yes. If they were a 3, not a 2 when losing Nola. It is a shame for Rhys, though. Rhys is an ultimate pro. He goes down as one of the best athletes we've had in this city. In Philly city, combine that. In this city, though, for real. Everything he's done off the field, all sorts of what's the word I'm looking for? Charity work that he's done. It's beautiful. It is a shame. I wish Rhys could have another crack at it here and move Bryce back to the outfield. That's what I would do.
The Phillies offseason, there's a lot that Dave Dombrowski needs to do. I don't envy it, but it's a very important offseason to try to get to that ultimate goal of winning the World Series. With the entire, Rhys Hoskins-Bryce situation, I do think for the long term, it is the right move to keep Bryce at first base, because I just think overall, before all the injury stuff and the surgery stuff with him, I think he was eventually going to become a first baseman. So I just think long term for his health wise and everything like that, it might be the best move just to keep him at first. It does suck that it means Rhys is gone, because I do think he got cheated out of his, final year of his contract. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. Bryce is your first baseman. In terms of, how to replace Aaron Nola if you don't bring him back, Blake Snell really scares me. I know he's going to win his second Cy Young, but there's just, a lot of the underlying numbers that he has that make me a little bit queasy. You can't walk as many people as you did and have that low of an ERA as he did without it evening out into something that might not be the prettiest. I hope I get proven wrong if that's the case, if they do end up acquiring Blake Snell, but that's just something that really scares me. Sonny Gray would be a nice option. He was really good last year, but Sonny Gray would not be enough just to replace Aaron Nola. You would have to do some other type of move.
Ding, ding, ding. And I don't know if they do that, if there is an added bonus to the Sonny Gray move. They would expect Ranger to be a dominant player again, which he will be, but is he a 3? I don't know. I mean, I guess he could be. Ranger is that nasty that when he takes the ball, I have more confidence in him than most. When it's a big moment, his nerves, they never shake. He's just automatic, cool and calm, and the moment never seems too big. So there is that element to Ranger Suarez, but I still don't know if that's what best suits it. What best suits us with Ranger is the fact that if he can be a 4, whoa. If he could be a 4, whoa. Think of that starting rotation depth. The Diamondbacks are throwing out a rookie and a bullpen game in games 3 and 4. That's what they had. You get this. I don't know. It's just a shame that they lost that series. It's a damn shame. Because now think of the discussions we're having. We're sitting here wondering, is it the right time to move Castellanos? That's how quickly it all changes. That's how quickly we go into a whole nother world when you fail 6 and 7 at home. Because if they advanced to the World Series and lost again to the Rangers, even if it was in a Game 6, another Game 6 heartbreak loss, you go to back-to-back World Series losing in Game 6, I don't think you're having a big bomb drop on your franchise and moving a big name like Nick. You're just going to find ways to add, maybe get better bench because their bench sucked. And you don't have to utilize a Rojas in a high leverage spot where the game could break open and you can run the Diamondbacks out of the game and win and advance and get to the last series in October. No. No. You don't need that. There's actually a bopper you could rely on. You would do something like that. You lose games 6 and 7 at home, and now we're breaking up the band, which I don't root for. I don't think would be the right move if I'm Dave. I don't.
Yo, bros, what's up, man? Listen, man, as soon as the Phils lost, I was already pivoted to the offseason, man. Like, I'm not one to linger. Like, it sucked. Yeah, it sucked. But, like, I want to win so bad, man, that I was already thinking offseason. Listen, man, I think Harpett first is the best move. I mean, like, you get younger, you get more athletic, you get better defensively, you get Schwarbs in DH full time. And you know what? I have all the faith in the world that Harper did that knowing they bring some big moves. I don't know if it's Trout. I think that'd be awesome. But, I mean, you got Juan Soto's out there. I think there's guys like Bellinger out there, man. I think we can come back next season, be really good defensively, be an offensive powerhouse. I have all the faith in the world in this move with Harper at first. So, anyway, go Phils. I love your stuff, bros. Keep it up, man.
Well, thank you very much. I don't want Bellinger because that's another left-handed bat. I want pop from the right side. That's where we need right now. If you're going to move Nick, that's what you need to do. You need the right-handed bat. So you're losing Reese. You're losing Nick. In theory, I don't know. I don't know if another left-hander is what this team needs. Then it's Schwarber, Bryce, and Cody Bellinger. And for anyone who doesn't like the whole idea of I'm going to smash home runs, then I don't know if Cody Bellinger tickles your fancy because isn't that the what enamors you about Cody Bellinger is his ability to drive the baseball out of the ballpark, you know? So the whole Bryce playing first thing, yeah, it was definitely the idea down the road, but they probably projected it to be more when he's 35, 36 than it is when he's where he's at right now. It's probably 5 years earlier than they anticipated. That's why I'm willing to put him back into the outfield. It's too early for that. That was more when he's on the last couple of years of the deal, and it's a heavy amount of money to your cap, but you swallow it because of what he did for the first 8, 9, 10 years of the deal, the back end stuff. Yeah, go throw him at first base for a little bit. You got to look at JT. You got to look at Schwarber. Those deals, they're not forever. Zach Wheeler, they're not forever. Now's the time, and I think losing Nola and Nick, that's not pretty. That's not pretty. They're extremely important to the success. All right, before we get out of here, let me tell you about something that's super important to me. That's HelloFresh. A crazy schedule can make it easy to fall back into your dinner time recipe rut. So keep mealtime exciting with over 40 recipes to choose from every week. There's always something delicious with HelloFresh. HelloFresh does all the shopping and all the meal planning for you. Ingredients will arrive right at your doorstep. They'll be pre-portioned, and they'll be ready to cook along with pictured step-by-step recipe cards. How easy is that? HelloFresh is 25% less expensive than takeout. So that means you get easy home-cooked meals on the table and more money back in your pocket. Go to HelloFresh.com/50broads and use code 50broads for 50% off plus free shipping. That's code 50broads for 50% off plus free shipping. HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit. All right, everybody. I appreciate you all. I love you to death. We'll be continuing to talk about this during the offseason. I love you guys, and I'll see you on the next one.